Hey everybody on Craigslist, my name is Lee. Thanks for checking out my ad and this YouTube video just to kind of explain to you what's going on. I'm a screen printer of over 30 years. I've got highly versatile experience. I've done about anything and everything that can be done in screen printing. And one of the things that I'd like to do all along the way is design and build different styles of screen printing equipment. I got 2 inventions to my name and I'm coming up with all this other stuff. It's fun, but sometimes it's kind of a pain because I keep building stuff and I end up with so much stuff in my way. Some of it I've had designs before, tabletop equipment. This isn't it, even though it's a tabletop press, that I've sold a lot of. That's just part of how I make my living as a screen printer. Even though I'm an actual screen printer first, because I've come up with some inventions, it's nice then if you can make a living off of what you've come up with. However, what I'm talking about in this video and in this ad is other stuff aside from that I've come up with. My mind goes in different directions. When you get out and look around in the screen printing field and you look at all the different things that are out there, from UDO to the big expensive stuff and everything in between, there's certainly a zillion ways you can go if you want to put 5 cents worth of ink on a $3 t-shirt. Question is how smart is that equipment designed? How well is it going to work for what you want to do? So I try to address all those things when I'm coming up with different designs of equipment. Again, it's just a lot of fun for me. I enjoy everything about the trade. That's really what's kept me in it for so long, is the extreme versatility in screen printing. I've printed things that are so tiny you can hardly hold on to them, all the way up to signage for the side of TriMet buses back in the days before it was vinyl graphics. I've done all sides of garments, everything in the garment end. I've done 3-dimensional fabricated plastics, metals, you name it. It's just amazing the versatility out there. And in any side of screen printing that you get in, there's different kinds of challenges. But one thing that always stays the same is that you have to have several basic things in place. No matter what equipment you have or you align yourself with, you have to absolutely gain the right skills at the start. If you don't, you're just going to keep repeating whatever you do know. And if you don't know the right things, screen printing being a repetitive art, you might have a stack of 50 to 100 or 500 t-shirts. You don't want to be repeating bad technique and bad skills. You don't want to your screen to have not quite right emulsion on it. You don't want to be using not quite right ink. You want to have real good knowledge of your supplies. You want to have real good abilities, techniques, and then you have the real solid foundation for screen printing that you need to start developing even at the beginning, because that's what starts making it fun sooner. You want to be profitable, but you also want it to be fun. If it's not fun, I guarantee you it's not going to be profitable. You may have a profitable job here and there, but then you're going to make a mistake that's going to dig into your pocket because of something you didn't know, and you're going to put that on a t-shirt or something else, and so you're going to have this up and down thing in screen printing, and that ends up not being any fun because you never really know what skills you have and what you're dealing with, and those surprises are going to continually cost you. So I've been in screen printing long enough. I've seen so many different scenarios so many times that it's pretty much old hat to me. Kind of don't want to talk about it too much that way because it makes me sound jaded, and if I was, I'd just totally get out of this and do something else. There's something about screen printing that just always holds my interest, and so I haven't lost that ability to understand why people who are getting into screen printing are so interested. But that doesn't set me apart from the marketers, the marketeers. These guys know, even these guys know that screen printing is so popular that they can throw out equipment, just about any kind of equipment, and just zillions of people are going to fall for it. I could spend a good amount of time naming names here, and I'm not going to do that, but the fact is you can look on Craigslist today, you can look online almost anywhere else today, and you're going to see representations of that very thing going on, and it upsets me a bit because as a pro screen printer, I've worked in every kind of size shop, on every kind of equipment from simple to elaborate. I've been in every kind of venue there is for screen printing. But the bottom line again is either you know what you're doing and you're having fun, or you're not. And that's why I kind of took myself out a while back from mainstream screen printing, because it's just too much, especially with automatic equipment. It's just too much bang, 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 bang. Get the stuff out because your boss wants to make as much money as they can off of you. Whereas my mind, while I'm doing that, like I'm working in somebody's shop like a ninja, my mind is distracted. I'm thinking of the fun stuff that's a balance of technical skills and artistic, just having fun. And I can do that better at home. I can do it better working with other people. I just don't want to be a shop or a press slave anymore. I can. I've been told I'm one of the best, fastest printers that shops have ever had. But that was never my goal. Nor really, bottom line, financially, do you get paid for working that hard when you work for somebody else. That's how they make their money. That's their business. That's their prerogative. If you decide to go that direction, look out, because that's what you're going to find. Not to say you won't have fun if you get in a screen printing shop, but too many of them, you know, they're just that way. They're businesses. They're not there to teach you. They're not there to make you a better printer than they need you to be for the sake of their business. So if you're thinking that you can get a job in a screen printing shop and that that's going to be your fastest way to move ahead as far as learning screen printing, you are wrong. You know, I've been in a lot of screen printing shops that I had a lot of fun with. Met a lot of great people. Met some not so great printers. I'd be the first to tell you, in my 30 years of screen printing, actually that was way too much time for me to be in screen printing as far as the part that I spent working for other people. With the ideas and the knowledge that I have, I should have been out on my own a lot longer before I actually was. So when I'm working with new people, which really doesn't have anything to do with this ad, but it's a little bit connected in that I do work with people, teaching them how to screen print. I teach them all the things they need to know. I sidestep all the things they don't need to know. And that subtracts a lot of time that you would waste if you didn't take that class and know those things, so that you could start progressing better into real solid screen printing for fun and profit if you want. So I'm proud in a positive way that I can distill those things out of screen printing for people. So again, they can get into it much better and much faster. They're going to know the right equipment, even if it's simple stuff. Going out and buying a fancy press will not make you a screen printer overnight, or in a week, or in a month, or in a year, or more. If you don't know the right techniques, the right supplies, skills, you're way better off being somebody with the simplest press. Even something like this, a tabletop press. This is what I teach my students on, presses like this. And I can teach a new person who's getting into screen printing things on this style of equipment that much faster, like rotary style screen printers should know, and very many of them aren't that solid in that knowledge. From screens to inks to squeegees, they learn enough, many of them, kind of just to squeak by, and they're printing faster because they're on rotary equipment, but that's not where I start people out. You need to be a good, solid printer. You need to understand how to use one platen correctly before you try to use 3, 4, 5, or 6 on more elaborate equipment. You need to understand how to set one screen up, what makes a good screen, what makes a good emulsion coat, what makes a right squeegee, the right use of a squeegee, all these things combining. And it's fairly easy, but you have to be introduced to the right things to begin with before you can practice the right things and then maximize their use by gaining confidence and control of those things through time and practice. There is no shortcut past that. So even on my tabletop presses, I put somebody in a position to where they can start learning and maximizing all those things in the way, the combination that they need to be for it to even be worth it for you to get into screen printing. If you look around on the internet and even Craigslist, you should get the idea pretty quick. There is one lot of competition out there for equipment and screen printing. The screen printing shops that you see out there are a drop in the bucket compared to how many people are already screen printing at home. If you decide to get out there in a competitive nature, you're going to be competing against those people for the Joe's Restaurant kind of stuff, because you are far and away not the only person out there offering that. The only way you're really going to be able to get ahead is by going with your own designs. That's why you never see me when I'm in classes and I'm doing this stuff. I never show my designs, things that I depend on to market to anybody else. That'd be kind of silly. I'm training people basically to compete against me in the field of screen printing. I'm not also going to turn around and show them my accounts. There are people that will run with that. And I'm really not that much of an artist, but I connect with some people and I do come up with things of my own in that direction. I'm more of a mechanical screen printer because it's such a wide field in and of itself there. It's enough to keep busy. When you go into a fancy restaurant, the chef is not the waiter. They both know their job so well that each one has that position to fulfill, and working together they make a successful restaurant. And that's how most screen printing shops go. There's a little bit of crossover, but you're going to be, as a screen printer, you're going to be an artist sometimes too. That depends on you. That's your choice to pick when and how much of those things you do. But if you're going to get into screen printing at all, regardless of how much you're into art, graphics, whatever, that's your own call, you need to understand this side, the mechanical end of screen printing. And so that's what I've chosen pretty much from the beginning of screen printing. I got into it in 1979. That's what I've chosen to make my forte. So, like I said, and even in that position with what I know, I still have to come up with designs that are mine, that I can sell. I can't depend on all this stuff that's out there that everybody else is going after. I have to have my own unique stuff that people can't get from anywhere else. So that's just something I want to throw out to you, because a lot of people, everybody has an idea for a t-shirt, but coming up with that idea, that thing that will sell, and I can't tell you how to do that. That has to come from your own creativity. I could kind of in a way, but I don't get into that. I spend my time, people that have ideas, they know what they want to do. There's a lot of artists that have dealt with me that have their own designs. They know where they want to go. They just need the mechanical, technical abilities to be able to screen print and do it right, consistent quality, again, so they're going to have fun and profits. If you don't approach it that way, you're going to be probably among the 90% plus who get into screen printing, bounce out of it really quick, or don't stay in it very long, or learn very much to do it well. And that's just kind of sad, because you're there long enough for the marketeers to take advantage of you by selling you whatever equipment they sold you up front. And so they make out really good, because what they need to do doesn't depend on anything except for marketing something to you. And that's comparatively simple compared to what you're going to have to do once you have the equipment. It's up to you to learn how to use it. So are you going to be able to align yourself with the correct teacher, tools, techniques, supplies, to where you can move ahead that way? The marketeers don't have to do that. All they got to do is stand next to a press and smile at you and get you to believe that that's going to do it for you. It won't. I guarantee you. It doesn't matter whose equipment you buy, whether it's them, theirs, mine, his, hers, whatever. It doesn't matter if you aren't upfront willing to accept a level of commitment that, as a newbie, you don't yet understand. A lot of people watch videos and they see somebody dragging a squeegee, and the ink goes through on the shirt, and they think they understand what they just saw. They're not thinking about speed, pressure, angle, the consistency of the ink, the technique that's required for that particular ink to lay down correctly on that particular fabric and color of fabric. There's so much technique and stuff that we as printers just dial in on like that. We don't have to talk about it. We don't even really have to think about it. We've experienced it. We know it. We know the difference between this job and that job. And so when you watch it in a video or otherwise, it's deceptively simple. It's almost like somebody doing a magic trick. You think you understand what you see, but the magician knows that you're not seeing half of what they're doing. That's why they're the magician, and you're the one trying to figure out what they did. You don't want to be trying to figure out what you did when you lift up this screen and look at your shirt. When you're looking at good results or bad results, you need to know exactly why those results are what they are. Otherwise, you're never going to be what you need to be as a screen printer. I always tell people learning to screen print, you have to be two things. Right from the start, you have to be open to learning to become two things. a great printer, and a great troubleshooter. What I mean by troubleshooter is that you have to identify problems when they occur, and they will, and you have to, and then as long as you do that, because you're going to experience problems and you're going to go, aha, well, I won't do that again. So you've just gained some troubleshooting ability to keep that from happening the next time. That applies to screens, picking the right screen, coding it correctly, exposing it correctly, washing it out correctly, picking the right ink, the right techniques, all those things. Again, I say a lot of simple things, but you have to be able to put all those simple things together correctly in order for you to get a good result. And that's not simple if you don't know how to do it. You can leave one or two things out and you're going to get a substandard print, or you're just, you know, if you can identify what you're doing right, then you can improve on even that. If you can't identify what you're doing wrong, chances are you're set up to do it, you know, make even a worse mistake. So what you don't know, not only will it hurt you, it will come back to hurt you again. It'll kind of compound itself in some other way. What you understand that's right, then you can build on that. You know how it is. Whenever you understand certain things, you see the common sense of things or the sense of things, it opens your mind to understand it even more. And that leads to more progress. It's the same thing in screen printing. Well, I think I've been pretty clear about that. You know, and that's teaching sense. I don't give free screen printing classes. There's a lot of people that, you know, if I show them a press, if I was to show you this, you know, we could stand here for hours with one question leading to another. That's a class, and I charge for that. I don't teach people free because good solid knowledge in screen printing is of great value, and it's kind of rare to find. When I'm teaching people, I'm not some high schooler or somebody who's been printing for a few days or a week or a month, who's passing on to you the vague knowledge that I've picked up in a short period of time. I've been doing it long enough to where I can even teach you the simple things in screen printing better than somebody who has a vague understanding of even the most simple things. There's a way to put even what could be considered the most basic things in screen printing together in a better way so that you can progress better. That's extremely important to me. It comes across in my class, and I hope it's coming across to you right now. I'm hardwired to do screen printing right, or any of the other things, the projects that I do. If I'm not going to do them right, I just don't get involved in them. You know, when I'm doing something new, I make mistakes too, just like you will. But when it's something that I know this well, I'm way beyond that. I'll change little aesthetic things and design style things sometimes, you know, to fit different people in different circumstances. But the bottom line intelligence and design sense that has to be in your equipment, I always incorporate regardless of what I'm making. Okay, I just had an ad up last week and I sold my 3-station flat rotary press. Really cool press that I made. That's the style of press you'll normally see in regular screen printing shops. The only reason I sold it, because it was an excellent working press, extremely accurate. The only reason I sold it is because, being who I am and what I do, I invented a 4-station vertical rotary press that accomplishes more and in less space. So it didn't knock my 3-station rotary out because it worked any better. It was just a different design element so that it took up less space, because I'm working out of a single car garage, which would be fine, except for I've got so many projects and so many things that I lose room fast. So I'm really good at maximizing space and room on my end, and that kind of, anybody who deals with me, that just kind of bleeds over onto them. So, and this is one of the ways it does that. Okay, you've been looking at this press here. I'm going to show you this really quick. Well, we're past really quick, but anyway, what I want you to understand here, this press here, this is a basic, basically one color setup press. It doesn't include the screen or the squeegee. I've got it set up in almost print ready so you can kind of understand. The screen is open, there's no print on it, just so you can see through it. But basically what this is it's a tabletop unit. It's movable, you know, comes and sets on your table, and then it's got a platen which you can change it out. You can see over here next to it I've got a different unit. These don't come together. This is a combination used sleeve platen that can be exchanged. You can buy, if you bought one of these units, You could do, you know, one color printing with this unit. A lot of people just want to do that. I've dealt with a lot of people that just want to do one color printing, and this is an excellent unit for that. I've never sold one of these before. Like I said, the stuff that I sold before was different. This is stuff that I just came out with, and I really like it. Uses the same bi-level platens though, and I've just come up with a couple new things that just make it easier for me to produce, cheaper to produce, and like the clamp, it's extremely stable. This is amazing. This particular clamp here, very lightweight material, it is as or more stable than some of the heaviest, biggest, beefiest, overdone clamps that are on some of the most expensive equipment you can get. I know, odd but true. So I incorporate it. You know, sometimes the answers, the thing that does the great job is very simple. You just don't question it, you use it and move on to the next thing. So that's what I've done here. And so anybody who comes and looks at this, I'll give them a quick overview of it. If you have some screen printing knowledge, the things that I have to show you are going to make almost instant sense to you. It's just a matter of whether this, you know, is an economical thing for you, which it is, and it makes sense to you and what you're looking for, and then you're going to know otherwise, based on your skills that you should already have in place, whether you would want this. Again, I don't teach classes to sell equipment. If somebody takes a class from me and then they want to buy equipment from me later, that's great. I never push equipment on people who take a class. I let what they learn help them decide whether they want to continue in screen printing and what they want to continue with. And on the other side of that coin, if I'm just selling a press to somebody who hasn't taken a class, I don't, you know, allow myself to be pushed into teaching a free class in order to sell a press. So it's kind of that two thing. If you want the press, I got the press. If you want it at its cost. If you want the class, I offer that, and it has a cost. So they're not the same. Also, when you buy screen printing equipment, unless you're buying a package deal, you don't get screens and squeegees. A lot of people just getting into screen printing, and this is one of the things that lets me know I'm dealing with newbies, which is fine. We all start there. When you buy a screen printing press, no, it does not come with screens and squeegees and inks and all that. It doesn't. You know, some people try to fool you with package deals, you do, and that kind of stuff. And people look at the word package deal and they don't really see what is making up that package deal to whether how it's really working for them or not. There's a lot of not out there. It's better for you to save money, get an economical, well-functioning press, and know the best place to get your screens and squeegees and inks. That package deal, even if you invest in it up front, generally doesn't consist of the best things that you could have, or even the most economical things you could have. So it's better for you to know where to go and get those things. You'll go online and get them from the same place as I do. You'll pay the same great price as I do. You're going to end up in that boat anyway. Why wouldn't you want to know that right up front so you can start taking advantage of the price savings, especially on screens? Most people I know are paying way too much for screens. So my customers, one of the things I let them know is where to get cost-effective screens. I've stretched and built over 3,000 screens. I don't do it anymore. It's not that I can't. It's not worth my time. So it's not worth yours, especially if you don't have the skill of ever having done it before. It's not worth learning. I get these anywhere from 12 to 15 bucks a piece, and they're on sale all the time. The way they're made, it's just not worth it for me to do my own screens. But there's a lot of places you can go and you can spend twice that much easy for screens, and why would you? Unless you don't know, and a lot of people don't know. So that's a thing that I try to combine. Like I said, I can build a press of this type, of that type, of whatever, and you're still not going to know, you know, unless you get taught that, the right places and the right supplies to get and where to go. It's, again, just like marrying skills together to get a correct quality print. You have to marry supplies together, and that means knowing where to go to get the best deals on the best things. That's what you want to be able to do. So, all right, so my ad, getting back to basically what my ad is about, I've actually got 4 of these units, and so that's what I've got. I'm not in the business of making these over and over again. I was experimenting with this. I liked what I had so much that I made 4 of them. And so to you know, clear up some room, because I'm still making other stuff, I still have 3 other different kinds of presses out of this that I'm not using, ones that I just built, prototype presses and stuff that are great working presses that I need to sell as well. This is stuff that I'm not using because I have my own equipment. This, again, is stuff that I build. I don't know why. Sometimes I just get an idea in my head and I know it'll work great and I've just got to see it in front of me. And then if I really like it, I'll make more than one. So the reason I actually made 4 of these is because I thought, okay, I'm going to line up 4 presses. I'm going to have a line press. And the first one I can set up, it'll have a screen with the first color on it. After I print the first color on this platen, I can pick up this platen and move it to the second print bed, which is what this is referred to as a print bed. And I'll set it down on that one. It's going to have its own screen with its own micro-tuners. And so by the time you've moved down 4 of these print beds with 4 different screens, 4 different images with your one platen, you've ended up with a 4-color design. Okay, well, that's line printing. This is my own take on the print beds for it. It's an old style of printing. This is kind of a smart introduction of some new things. Plus, each piece is separate, so it can be picked up, folded down. Everything folds up and it can be put away real compact. But I'm not offering it as a 4-color, 4-piece print bed. I'm offering it individually, each one individually, so that it can benefit people who are getting into screen printing and don't need any more than a 1-color press. Hopefully nobody's confused about that. But anyway, I just told you that because I wanted you to understand why I made 4 of them. So, alright, so that's what I've got for sale. And basically what you're going to get is a platen. This is an optional platen. This is something that's aside. You're going to get the adult platen on a print bed. It's set up basically with the hinge for your screen, and the support, very simple, but again, this will allow you to do some more accurate printing than is coming out of some shops. And again, I tell you, and I'm very serious about this, if you don't have screen printing experience, don't buy a press and just kind of go about the actual doing of screen printing with less attention. You should pay enough attention to get a press that's accurate and good, not just cost effective. This is all that, cost effective and good, but then you don't want to turn around and make the opposite kind of choice by not learning how to use it correctly. So if you have decent basic screen printing skills, you could just come and pick this up and set it up with your own screens, go to town, do it, you know, you're fine with that because you've got basic skills. If you don't, this thing doesn't say a word. It's not going to teach you a thing. You really do have to align with somebody who's got decent skills so that you can get the most out of anything. And that's really what I'm about as a professional screen printer. I'm happy to sell somebody a press. I'm even more happy when I know they're going to know how to use it. Again, I don't teach for free. Why would I? No pros that I know do what they do for free, so I don't either. I used to, a lot. It's not like I never was a give something guy. I did it way more than my share. And I thought, wait a minute, all these people that I'm giving free classes to are driving better cars than me. I'm not going to give my time away for free anymore. So anyway, I'm sure you can understand that, and if you don't, that's how it is. So anyway, I get benefit for hard-earned, long-earned skills, and you will benefit from that if you take a class from me. And I'm not trying to push you into that any more than a press either. It's just letting you know that it's out there. So anyway, let me know if you're interested in this. The ad specifically, I'll get a little closer up here, is for this unit. Kind of giving you the idea here of it. Now the first one, remember, I explained, this one's a little bit different. If you've just got one, you don't need micro-tuners. See on the edge there, you've those little twistable things right here? These are micro-tuners. If you just have one bay, like this one is, and I'm selling these as one single bays, you don't need adjustable micro-tuners because there's nothing to adjust to. You don't have more than one color being involved. You do need two edge side stops, which is what this provides. So when I made these, as I said just a minute ago, I was making them to use 4 of them together. So you see the ones on the floor? They've got the tunable micro-tuners on each end. That's because after the first stable print on color number 1, Everything else after that has to have micro-tunability. You have to be able to move the platen, in micro adjustments, to align it to your first or your master print. You can see it says master there. But again, if you're just using each one of these separately, they could all be set up like this with just the blocks. No need for the micro-tuners, but just so, I'm sure some of you spotted the difference there. And that's what it is. That's the only reason that exists, is because the 3 following bays were meant to follow the master or the first bay in a 4-color setup for a line press. That's why these things exist in this form. All right, so anyway, that's what I got. I got 4 of them. And so anybody who buys this from me, I'm going to give you my list of the best place to get inks, the best place to get your screens and squeegees. It's not in town. You're going to pay way too much for that stuff if you get it in town. And you're thinking, yeah, but if I pay for somewhere else, there's shipping. Actually, where I get my screens from, it's free shipping. And the screen prices are great. Please don't email and ask me, if you're not my customer, where I get my screens and squeegees. I like to offer my customers a unique benefit. I'm a unique teacher. I have unique equipment. And that's just one of the things, when you're a teacher and you're supplying things to people, you like to give them something, like a unique connection. That just adds to my being a unique connection for you, because I know things, where to get some things. All screen printers know where to get stuff, and most of it's good stuff. I know where to get the best stuff and best prices on it, and I don't get a kickback from anybody. So anybody who thinks that I'm a marketeer, I don't get a dime from anybody for telling you about that stuff that connects so well to screen printing. I get a little bit of money off of the ideas that I come up with. This is not my main equipment. I do not manufacture these, have not manufactured these designs for sale. I made this 4-color, it would be a 4-color if you're using all of them together like I've explained. That's why I made this. Again, just another experimental, just another direction, using the correct mechanics and techniques, just in a different style. I liked it. It's a great idea, but I don't need it. I had it stacked up in my side room, and that's just not where a decent screen printing setup should be. I'd rather you have it, or 4 of you have one of these apiece, making the most of it as you enter screen printing and learn it. It's an awesome trade, it's an awesome art, and I hope that you'll get into it, even if it's not through me. But just be very careful that you get into it the right way, because too many people get into it and then they bounce back out of it. I went to pick up some boxes from a lady on Craigslist here about 3 years ago, and she said, and her garage door was open, and she had all this poured ceramic stuff there. She obviously had a really slamming great home business. And I looked in there and I was like, wow, you really got a big ceramics thing going here. And she told me, yeah, I actually was interested in screen printing when I got started, And I got this expensive startup equipment, and then they didn't have the answers for me and all this stuff when I needed to use it. It just became a nightmare. And so I just got out of it and got into ceramics. Well, I'm looking at her garage and I'm going, well, here's a successful, motivated lady. I can tell that by looking at all the ceramics she has in her garage. She's not the problem. She was gung-ho ready to go with screen printing at one time. She got let down by the common marketeer, somebody who was able to sell her equipment, but they couldn't teach her how to use it. All right? And there's nothing wrong with people selling equipment, but you've got to be able to teach people, whether it's for free or you charge it for them. So I let people know how I work up front. I'm not just the half meal deal guy. I'm not just trying to put something in your hands to where you'll end up in a position like this woman. She had all the motivation and the sincere desire to do something. Somebody sold her equipment, but they didn't even have the ability or the desire to teach her. I'm here for that. I do it. I'm well versed in it. And if somebody wants to pay a fair price for that, I will go that direction too. I'm never somebody's excuse as to why they couldn't or didn't learn screen printing. I'm not the excuse, equipment-wise or learning-wise. If somebody has that attention and approach and pays fair for it, they're going to get there. I know how to do that. But just what really disappointed me was that this woman got connected with somebody who couldn't take her the way that really you need to be able to go and willing to go if you're going to make something out of screen printing. She was willing. She was trying to get answers. She was trying to get help. She wasn't getting help, so she just gave up on it and went a whole nother way. And I was a little bit offended, even though I hadn't done anything wrong. And I told her, I said, well, you don't know this, but I'm a professional screen printer. So I can't help but take it a little bit personally that you had that kind of experience, because that lets me know that what I already know, there's people out there downing my trade, misrepresenting it, and you got caught up in that. I would never do that to you, and I would like you to at least have a better feel for screen printing. Even if you never go into it, you should understand what it's like. And so at that time I had an old DVD, and I said, just let me drop a DVD off to you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just that you never learned what you needed to learn, you know, even the basics about screen printing. And you ended up obviously paying a lot for it and getting real disheartened and discouraged. Wow, she was already so turned off by her experience that she just kind of almost yelled, no, I'm done with screen printing. That's how negative an experience can become for somebody who started out really being interested and wanting to know, but they align themselves with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, even though they have equipment to sell. That's my competition. I have to fight that fight every day. I'm constantly having to explain the difference between people, those of us who care about our art and trade screen printing, among all those who don't. I used to be on YouTube. I'm not on there anymore as far as selling screen printing, because it started going out to where I had to spend so much time trying to explain the difference between myself and others. And I understand, I realize I'm doing that some here too. Just seems to be part of the game anymore. Anyway, I couldn't just get on there and purely connect with people about screen printing. That's what I wanted to do. That's what my equipment was designed from and directed toward. Finally, I found myself, I was having to deal with so many pirates and posers and idea thieves and people who were trying to sell and resell equipment ideas they stole, a lot of them mine, and they weren't screen printers. And I thought, oh man, these people are going to buy stuff thinking that they're getting the real equipment, they're getting dumbed down equipment from somebody who doesn't even really know screen printing, and they're going to get fooled into failing in screen printing with equipment that somebody's pirating ideas from me. That's too close. I don't want somebody even standing anywhere near close to me like that, nor do I want to share that kind of field with them. So it got to be the point where I was fighting so many fakes, I thought, wait a minute, I'm not into screen printing for that. You know, it's like, imagine if you were playing football and the whole game your team was on offense. The whole game. Or defense. And there was never the back and forth to where there was any kind of even fair level of competition. It was always one-sided. That's the way it got to be being on YouTube. I felt like, God, I'm spending so much time and energy defending myself and screen printing that it's not helping anybody. It's not helping me, because the reality of it and the pureness and the fun of it is disappearing in the fight. It's just a real ironic thing that it didn't used to be that way. And I thought, man, I'm not that kind of person. I don't like that tension. I don't like the thing that it's doing to me to be involved in screen printing this way. I love it and I know it so well. I don't want to be combat screen printer. You know, and that's what it was becoming. So that's why you see in this video, I know what I know. I'm very, very good at it. I stay relaxed. I'm much better. See, I learned something even about myself once I started encountering all the posers and pirates. Everything I know about screen printing, I learned something because I got caught by surprise, really. I didn't expect to run into pirates and posers and thieves like that. So it kind of threw me off balance. And so that was the newest thing I learned as a screen printer, is how to stay balanced. And you can't fight. You can't win against all the thieves. You just can't. Especially with the internet. The internet helps the dishonest people just as much, sometimes more, than it helps out the honest people. There comes a point where you can't change that, like you can't change the weather. You just have to ride it out, and when the good weather comes, you take advantage of that. I've found that screen printing and the people that are into it, newbies or otherwise, it's the same way. And so that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm approaching screen printing with that kind of reality and just getting back to what I know and what I have to offer, the honesty, the integrity, the ethics, and the truth that can help, you know, not as many people as when I was on the internet until the pirates showed up. But that's the only kind of person I ever wanted, whether it's 2 or 200. I got back to the reality of what screen printing is for me. Again, honest, integrity, ethics, and equipment that works right, and the right knowledge that goes with it. So, wow, we're at 40 minutes here. I didn't expect to have a video this long, so I'm going to cut it short. But anyway, you've seen my ad with a little bit of pictures. Thanks for watching this video to go along with it. I know I'm not the only person selling screen printing equipment, and I'm not saying that all the other stuff on there is bad or you should avoid it just because somebody hasn't made a video or they may not know what I know, which is likely the case. It's just, you know, I want you to be aware of me so that you understand that I'm here as an option. With any and all kinds of equipment, I've done it. This is what I'm offering now. But again, always, no matter which way you go, it's going to be extremely important for you to understand how to use it. I've gotten into sports to where I learned everything I could about the sport before I went and got the equipment. Now, equipment and everything is always important because until you do the hands-on, you haven't really learned until you do that hands-on. You can be one of these people who watches videos on YouTube and reads all the stuff in the world forever, and you're going to learn a lot of things. You can also be confused a lot by all of that, but it's not until you get into the hands-on. So it's like finding that right balance of head knowledge and hands-on skills, abilities knowledge based on practice and actually doing. You have to have both of those things, so that's how I approach everything, because as a builder and as a screen printer, I understand that both how important things are to that way, even in my own trade. When I tell people screen printing, way more than the equipment that you buy, as important as that is, and the things that you have, there's such a high level of feel to it. How does it feel when you're working with that particular ink and fabric and squeegee? You know, how does it feel? There's a particular feel that's associated with a quality result, how that ink is going to look on the shirt, on the piece of metal that you're printing. It's all very, very different, and you have to learn it. You get the mental recognition, you get the muscle memory of the speed, pressure, angle of the squeegees to you know, coordinate all those things. Same thing is true when you're coating a screen. There's a particular feel, speed, pressure, angle of your scoop coater, what it feels like when the emulsion is going correctly on a screen. And it feels different if you're coating a 110 screen than it would if you're coating a 200 mesh screen. The feel of screen printing, you know, it's like a lot of arts. Painting is a feel. Talk to any painter. They're not picking their paintbrush up like that, you know, and going at the canvas like that. They're holding it in a particular way, and they've got a flow in their wrist and their fingers so the transfer, so they can feel what that brush, the tips of that brush are doing on that canvas to get that exact effect that they want. That's how screen printing is. So you really need to understand that going into it up front. Screen printing, you know, paint by numbers is not painting. Painting is painting. Screen printing, you do, or just because you bought something out of a box, a screen print by numbers is not screen printing. Screen printing is a process. It's learning. It's a finesse. It's a feel. It's a master of techniques. And that's what makes the difference between a screen printer with true understanding, true ability, and staying power and versatility, as opposed to somebody, you know, who gets a U-do or something else and, you know, can't rise above the kindergarten screen print level, or soon enough that is on the internet being sold to somebody else who will learn the same thing. Now, sometimes that equipment fits people perfectly because they're not really looking to go beyond that. I'm not saying that there's not a market for it, but question yourself a little bit more before you buy that. You're going to spend as much money or more than it would cost you to get a simple setup, know the correct suppliers to get the things that are better, screen, ink, and squeegee wise. You could pay the same or less to get the right start so that if you do proceed in screen printing, you started out with the right stuff to begin with. You're using the same things that the pros use, even though your press, for instance, a tabletop press, is simple. When you do expand, you've already learned how to use the right screen squeegeeing inks. You're not going to have to walk backwards and start all over to learn it, to do it right. Why would you want to waste your time on top of your money that way? So anyway, thanks for watching this. It's 45 minutes, so I'm going to cut it right here. And you can see my Skype number in the ad. Just get in touch with me. My Skype, sometimes I don't hear it. It's not a loud bell, and it rings twice, and then it goes to message. Please do leave me a message. I'm very good about returning messages. Or call me back. If I don't answer the first time, give me a ring another time. I'm all around here. May not be able to get to the phone real super fast. But I'm on this. This isn't just like a secondary thing. Well, I'll get to the phone later. I need to hear the phone ringing. I need time to get to the phone. So please make a good effort to get in touch with me if you have a serious interest. And you'll understand that pretty quick that I'm a great connection for you in screen printing. And I appreciate the people that come to me, because students, whatever, without them, I couldn't do it. They're the ones that help me keep what I love and do in screen printing going. Thanks for watching this. Have a great one.